The legend of John Ashley, the Swamp Bandit. Deep in the wild, untamed Florida Everglades, one man carved out a legend as the king of the Everglades. His name was John Ashley, a bank robber, bootlegger, occasional pirate, and folk hero to some. From 1911 to 1924, Ashley and his gang terrorized Florida's southeast coast, robbing banks, hijacking rum, and defying the law at every turn. But who was this notorious outlaw? And how did he become one of Florida's most infamous criminals? Let's dive into the swampy saga of John Ashley and the Ashley Gang. John Hopkins Ashley was born on March 19, 1888, in Buckingham, near Fort Myers, Florida. One of 9 children, he grew up in a poor family led by his father, Joe Ashley, a woodsman who made a living fishing, hunting, and trapping otters in the Everglades. In the 1890s, the family moved to Pompano, where Joe and his sons worked on Henry Flagler's new railroad. Young John became a skilled trapper and alligator hunter, learning the swamps like the back of his hand, a skill that would later make him nearly untouchable. Trouble found John Ashley in 1911. On December 29th, a dredging crew near Lake Okeechobee discovered the body of Seminole trapper DeSoto Tiger, shot in the back. Suspicion fell on Ashley, who was last seen with Tiger in a canoe, carrying a load of otter hides. Fur traders in Miami, the Gertman brothers, confirmed Ashley sold them hides for $1,200. He was arrested in West Palm Beach for recklessly displaying firearms. But things escalated when 2 deputies, S.A. Barfield and Bob Hannon, tried to arrest him at his camp near Hobe Sound. The deputies were ambushed by John's brother, Bob Ashley, who disarmed them at gunpoint. John sent them back with a bold message for Sheriff George B. Baker. "Don't send any more chicken-hearted men with rifles, or they're apt to get hurt." This defiance marked the beginning of Ashley's 13-year feud with Baker and his transformation into the Swamp Bandit. Ashley fled to New Orleans to avoid arrest, but returned in 1914, homesick, and surrendered. His trial for Tiger's murder in 1914 ended in a mistrial, and a second trial in 1915 sentenced him to hang. But the Florida Supreme Court overturned the conviction. Ashley wasn't done with the law, though. On June 2, 1915, his brother Bob attempted a daring jailbreak, shooting Deputy Sheriff Wilbur Hendrickson dead and stealing the jailer's keys. Bob's escape went awry when he couldn't drive the getaway car and was killed in a shootout with Deputy J.R. Riblet, who also died. The chaos sparked outrage, with thousands in Miami threatening to lynch John in his cell. John Ashley escaped jail multiple times, including a mysterious vanishing from his cell in 1923. By then, the Ashley Gang was in full swing. The gang included John, his father Joe, brothers Ed, Frank, and Bob, nephew Hanford Mobley, and Chicago bank robber Kid Lowe. Operating from Everglades hideouts, they robbed nearly $1 million from at least 40 banks between 1915 and 1924. Their targets included a Florida East Coast Railway train in 1915 and the Stewart Bank, which they hit twice, once in 1923, with young Hanford Mobley sneaking in disguised as a woman to steal thousands. But banks weren't their only game. During Prohibition, the Ashley Gang turned to bootlegging, hijacking shipments of illegal whiskey smuggled from the Bahamas. Their operations were so effective that rum running along Florida's coast practically stopped. Ashley's lover, Laura Up the Grove, known as the Queen of the Everglades, served as a lookout, adding to the gang's mystique. In 1924, Ashley and a partner even raided the West End in the Bahamas, the first American pirate attack on a British Crown colony in over a century. To poor Florida crackers, local farmers and hunters, John Ashley was a folk hero, a symbol of resistance against bankers, lawmen, and wealthy landowners. Newspapers compared him to Jesse James, and one official called him the greatest threat to Florida since the Seminole Wars. But his actions hurt big city bootleggers, whose imported liquor competed with local moonshiners like Joe Ashley, who ran stills in Palm Beach County. The Ashley gang's reign wasn't without setbacks. In 1921, brothers Ed and Frank vanished during a rum-running trip from Bimini, never to be seen again. Still, John pressed on, pulling off heists until his luck ran out. In 1924, after years of pursuit, Sheriff George B. Baker's forces caught up with Ashley and 3 lieutenants, Hanford Mobley, Ray Lynn, and Clarence Middleton, on the St. Sebastian River Bridge. On November 1st, 1924, John Ashley and his men were gunned down by police. Handcuffed and killed, some say it was an execution rather than a fair fight. Ashley was 36. His death marked the end of the Ashley gang, but their legend lived on. Buried in the Ashley family cemetery in Stuart, Florida, John's grave became a site of fascination. His glass eye, a result of an accidental shooting by a gang member, was even stolen from his grave. John Ashley's story is one of rebellion, crime, and folklore. To some, he was a ruthless outlaw. To others, a Robin Hood of the Everglades. His gang's exploits, bank robberies, rum running, and piracy made them legends in a raw, untamed Florida. But their defiance came at a cost, leaving a trail of violence and tragedy. What do you think of John Ashley? Was he a hero, a villain, or something in between? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this dive into Florida's wild past, hit that like button and subscribe for more historical tales. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.